Alright guys, that picture you just looked at was a combination showing both the CKC hiker as well as on top, if you notice, that's the skeleton blade blank. That's what they are, direct from Sword. And I actually recently got one from Kyley. I wanted to play around with it a little bit and kind of create my own little design, and like I said, just kind of tinker with it. And I thought I'd make this video and show you what I came up with. First, let me show you, this is a regular CKC hiker. And by the way, CKC stands for Custom Kyley Cutlery. So there's the regular, newer production model from Kyley. And then coming in right here is what I created with the blade blank. And this is basically just a skeletonized knife, which I did a little bit of work to here. You can see I did a paracord wrap. I also did a little bit of reprofiling, a little bit of patina work, and I'll explain that right now. First of all, the paracord itself is kind of an ACU / desert camouflage. I'm not sure how well that'll pick up, but for the most part it looks like ACU camo. And I did a very simple pattern. What I did was actually, because there's holes in the blade, again, if you saw the original picture, you see the skeletonized pattern, as well as Kyley just put up a video showing a skeletonized version, so you can get an idea what they look like. Basically, there was a hole on the top of the knife here, top part of the handle, and I fed a piece of paracord through that this way, okay, and then laid it flat. And that gave me something to work with to create this little design on the back. And then on the front, I just did a straight wrap. So I did a straight wrap around, and then once I got to that piece of a paracord, I kind of layered. I went over, under, and again, gave me that kind of pattern there. Something different. Thought that was cool. When I got to the end, this is actually one solid piece. When I got to the very end, I fished it around again, and then kind of did a knot underneath this last piece. And you can see there's two separate black dots. They appear to be dots in the video. That's where the cord ends were. I burned them until they turned black, and then I used a knurled piece of steel. It's actually a handle to a small screwdriver, and pushed that down to make sure that was nice and secure. So now the lanyard itself is actually, it's not two pieces, which I originally was going to do. It's actually one solid piece. So there's no cuts or anything in it. It's actually really strong. And it's a functional lanyard. I mean, it looks cool, but you can do 1, 2, or 3 fingers through this. If you put 3 fingers through this, it gives you, I mean, a really good lanyard. I mean, this is not, no way in shape or form is it going to come out of your hands. I mean, if you do drop it, it's not going anywhere. It's not going to fall on the ground. So it's a very functional lanyard. You don't have to do 3 fingers. You could just throw your pinky in there if you wanted to. Just so, again, if you drop it, let's say you're doing something over water, it doesn't splash, and you lose your knife. It does stay with you. That's really the point of a lanyard. It's not so big, though, that you can get around your whole hand. It's not a full wrist lanyard, but I don't think that's necessary in such a small knife to begin with. I did reprofile the blade, as well as give it a little bit of a swedge, and hopefully you can see that there. Let me show you right compared to the first one here. Now, originally, when I first got this, the very first thing I did was I decided to try to do a tanto blade shape on it. And I took off a lot of the belly. I just did a straight cut this way to give it like a tanto tip, but it had a little bit of belly to it still. And ultimately, I decided I didn't like it that much. Maybe, in the future, it might work with something like that again, but for the most part, I didn't really like it that much. So what I ended up doing is re-rounding out the blade edge there. And what it eventually created was basically a little bit more of an acute tip. If you see on the right here, the original, you have, it's actually a really decent tip, but this one is a little bit narrower. It's almost like somewhat of a modified spear point. I wouldn't even go as far as saying that. I would say it's just a modified drop point blade, but it's a little bit more acute, so penetration might be just a little bit easier. Like I said, I did put a swedge on there. Might be hard to see. Let me try to catch it in the light here. You can see a little bit of a swedge. It's not sharpened. It's actually completely rounded. One feature I really liked on my Chris Reeves Sebenza is that it has the rounded spine, and it really, really feels comfortable. I just very, very lightly just kind of went back and forth all the way on my on the bench, or excuse me, the I'm having a loss of words here. My belt sander, and with a very fine grit, and just kind of back and forth. Like I said, it's actually completely rounded. It's very, very comfortable. If I want to choke up, put my pointer finger on here for some cutting work. It's extremely comfortable. This knife is not completely done. For the bottom of the spine here, I want to do file work. I've never really done any file work before, but I want to experiment on some cheap knives. Once I get a set of files, little micro files, I'll practice on some cheap knives, and eventually when I get it down, I'll put it on this knife. So I thought that was cool. On the back here, I did just a random patina looking thing just to give it some, I don't know, a little bit of character there. This is a carbon steel L6, so it will form a patina naturally. I just sped up the process a little bit on the back. Now what I did on the front is, you can see here, I put a mix of mustard, vinegar, and a little bit of hot sauce. And I made it into somewhat of a thick paste. I used a lot of mustard in this case. I didn't want to water it down too much because I wanted to hold its shape. And I kind of splashed it on the edge here, knowing that just the very edge, where the the air would meet the edge of this concoction I made, I would form this dark line. And I want to give the illusion that this is a layered steel, or maybe it looks like a fake hamon. I think it came out pretty cool. I like it. Actually, now that I think of it, I really wish I did that on the other side instead of doing just this random pattern. I wish I would have continued that on the other side so it looked like it was actually a layered steel, similar to VG1 or Sanmai, something like that, where it's actually like a three-part steel, where you have softer steel on the outside sandwiching a harder core. But I thought that came out pretty cool. Something different, like I said, just kind of tinkering with it a little bit. You can see the grind marks on the back here. If I catch the light right, I actually did a very, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm totally at a loss of words today. A very shallow, that's the word I'm looking for, a very shallow edge grind on here. If I hit the light, you can see that. This is a double beveled knife. There's two bevels on this. In other words, the angle comes down and then it has a secondary edge. Okay, a secondary edge on this. It's not the original grind on here, which is that convex grind. The convex grind is extremely effective. Again, I just want to do something a little bit different, so I kept a straight angle on here. Actually, this nice thin stock, I put about a 12 to 15 degree edge on my second bevel here. So it's very similar to a kitchen knife as opposed to a regular folding knife or fixed blade. So it's still extremely sharp, very effective. Actually, let me grab some paper here, show you this. Actually, my last little piece of paper. I'm going to have to pick up some more of this, but get some cuts here on film. So nice and sharp. Oop. The small ones you might not be able to see here. Try to get a nice little curly Q for you if I can. You're not going to be able to see that. I got a white background too, so that doesn't help. It is nice and sharp though, and I am happy with it. Again, just for the sake of change, try something new. I do prefer the convex grind on these knives quite a bit, but figured I'd try something different. But overall, I like it. I think it came out nice. I actually polished off a lot of it. You can see the difference between the original and the new one. You can't really tell because I did the patina on the back, but I did polish it up quite a bit, the whole thing, before I actually wrapped it and did the other work. But just from handling it, the blade itself is actually darkening because it is naturally forming a patina. Again, just like I said, from handling the knife. But I like it. Something different. I think it's pretty cool. Actually, if you guys are interested, if you have some pretty basic tools, you can tinker with this model and design and see if you can come up with something cool. You can buy these blade blanks direct from Kyley if you want. I think right now he's charging 40 New Zealand, which I hope this is right. I did a quick little Google search for exchange rate. I think 40 New Zealand currently is about $26 and change US. Now it does include shipping. It does not include a sheath. It's just a blade blank. But I mean, of course, you can get a sheath, or if you already have one of his hiker knives, if you do not reprofile the blade too much, if you keep it generally the same shape you get it in, you can use the same sheath. So in this case, this one actually, it kind of sits a little bit to the side there, but it does fit in nice and snug. It's not going to fall out. I can use this if I wanted to. So it will fit the original sheath if you do get, like I said, one of his other CKC hiker knives. So there it is, my own little version of this, a little spin-off of the CKC hiker. I told you, I can't talk today. I think it came out cool. If you guys are interested in working on this knife and kind of making it your own and customizing it yourself, maybe putting on your own handle scales or doing your own kind of paracord wrap, I'd love to see it. I'd certainly be interested. One thing I wanted to mention is I did remove the inner core, the inner 7 strands of the 550 paracord, so you can see it kept it still a very thin profile. It's not chunky or anything. It feels really good in the hand. It is thinner. It is lighter than the original. So that's, you know, benefit for some people. I still think that even with the wood grips, it's plenty light. I don't think weight is really an issue here, but if you like them super, super light, this definitely helps doing a paracord wrap. So there it is. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I will. Thanks again for watching. I always appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, guys.